on this episode of The Breakthrough Show. It's the Eyvindur and Jessica show as we welcome our first ever guest from Iceland, Eyvindur Karlsson. He's a singer-songwriter who will be sharing not one, but two of his amazing songs with us and telling us about his upcoming album. He's also a multifaceted entrepreneur, performer, and podcaster who is passionate about sharing his story so that mental health is a topic we begin to talk about. In our conversation, you'll hear about the breakthroughs he continues to experience and learn how his own self-care and reflection has helped and challenged him as a songwriter and performer. You'll also hear about the unique places he's found inspiration for his music. All this and more coming up today on The Breakthrough Show.
Life gives us moments when we have the opportunity to make a choice. And what we choose has the potential to change our lives forever. Join us now for another inspired episode of The Breakthrough. And now, please welcome the creator and host of the show, Jessica Dugas.
Welcome back to the Breakthrough Show. I'm so excited to be back with you for another episode today. So typically, we have a couple different people on an episode. We fill it with music and conversation and all of that. And then I met my guest today who does it all. I mean, we joke all the time about how we have multi-passionate people on the show. And this guy takes the cake. Okay. I'm just going to award him the Multi-Passionate Entrepreneur of the Year award. For 2021. And so when I met him, I said, we're just going to have an entire episode of Eyvindur, which I've practiced his name several times and thought that I was going to screw it up anyway. But he's from Iceland. He's multi-passionate. The first time we've had someone from Iceland on the show, he does all of the things. He's a musician, an author, an actor, a comedian. He gives tours and in Iceland, which is walking tours, which is a cool thing too. Please welcome creative entrepreneur Eyvindur Karlsson to the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much. That was a lovely introduction.
Thank you. So good to have you here. I love to meet other people like me who just want to do all the things.
Yeah, kid can't decide what they want to be when they grow up. Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Never grow up. That's the key, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it keeps it fun for me. Like when I started, I had some health issues a couple years ago. And at that point, I just said, I'm just not going to do anything that doesn't bring me joy anymore. And so I literally now wake up and I just do what I feel like doing, which makes me happy in the moment.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I went back to school as well because I couldn't. I was in a play and that fell through. So I should be doing that right now, but I'm not, obviously, because of reasons.
Yeah.
Well, actually, when we're recording this, by the time this goes out, that might have changed because who knows?
We'll see.
But so I went, back to school, doing all the things, and yeah, no, absolutely, just I totally agree. Do the things that bring you joy, man. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things
that for me also is bringing joy to other people.
Yes. Yes, that too. And it's, I've talked about this before. Joy is such a reciprocal thing where we're experiencing it and then it brings joy to other people. And then we see them, experiencing joy. So then we're joyful again, and it just goes around and around, which is a beautiful thing.
I was having a conversation with my friend. We were talking about, the whole pandemic thing and how everything stopped and you had to improvise, and everybody, and especially the performing arts, were sort of scrambling to find something to do and whatever. And of course, a lot of it was about money, but I think, and he was sharing his thoughts on this, which I totally agree with, was that most of us, I think, are kind of addicted to making people happy. And we can't function if we're not bringing people joy and we're not, reaching out and touching their lives in some way. And And that's why the whole Zoom performance thing was so tough for a lot of people, because you can't feel it. It's not as reciprocal. And I don't know. Yeah, I was just going through that conversation in my mind before, and I just think that's so true.
It is, and of all the addictions we could have, I'll take that one. I'll choose that's it. That's it. Well, I know you're gonna play some music for us today. The first one you're gonna do before we get into conversation is called "Good Girls Go to Heaven." Can you tell us a little bit about that song?
Yeah, it's a song that I wrote, a long time ago, 15 years ago or something. And it was a true story. I had a weird night in downtown Reykjavik, Iceland, where I met a person. She was strange. And the whole thing took a turn, and it was on my mind. So a few days after that happened, I wrote a song, and it's pretty much exactly what happened. The song, I didn't embellish it a lot. It's just what went down. So this is on my album that I put out in, when was it? 2018. So it took me a while to get it out there, but it is out. I'd love to play that for you.
Awesome. Well, here to perform "Good Girls Go to Heaven," here's Eyvindur Karlsson.
Everywhere I look, it's a bunch of God-forsaken dames, overflowing ashtrays, and bottles full of dreams. The lights start to flicker, but it might be these old eyes that look you up and down as you walk in from the street. You glance in my direction, I buy another drink. You make me feel like I'm falling down, and good girls go to heaven, but all you bad girls seem to stick around. Oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. Ever since she left, it's been hard to stay sober. It is hard to kick these habits she left me with, but now the light hits your face and you dazzle this old heart when you smile at me. Give me a wink and you look $100, an inebriated goddess. You look so nice beneath the neon light, and all the good girls go to heaven, but all you bad girls seek me out every night. Ooh, buy you a drink and you look into my eyes. I listen to your story, then I tell you mine. How you say you have a lover, yeah, but I can't say that I'm mine. You are perfect, and he ain't here tonight. So I ask you, will you follow me? You nod and then you smile. My arms are wrapped around you, and the rain pours down, and all the good girls go to heaven, but all you bad girls out every night. Now the sun is coming up, and I think you've had too much. You can't hold your liquor, and you really should go home. I can't bear to take you home to him, but you can't come with me, and you really shouldn't walk home alone. So I drag you along. You kiss me on the way. I know I want to have you, but I never will. And all the good girls go to heaven, but all you bad girls keep on haunting me still. Through the morning, wondering about you, wonder at the wonder that we even met. And all the good girls go to heaven, but all you bad girls are my part of town. All the good girls go to heaven, but all you bad girls seem to be all I ever get. And I'm back.
Yay. Yay again. So good.
Yes.
So much fun. I may have gotten myself a guitar for Christmas. And so I have a new guitar.
Oh.
I had one, and it was an acoustic electric and needs work done to it. So I was like, well, I'll get another one for now till I can get that one fixed. And so it'd be nice to sit down and play again. Do you find therapy in getting to do your music?
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you know, I don't know. It's like multifaceted. I mean, everything about it is therapy. Sitting down and just playing, singing, you know, learning to play other people's songs or playing mine, or writing new songs. You know, when I feel bad, that's what I tend to do. You know, if I'm having a bad day, I'll just sit down and sing. You know, it's amazingly therapeutic. And you know, and if you have negative feelings, then, you know, putting them into song, you know, that's where all the best songs come from, right? It's from depression and, and anxiety. I think that actually that's one of my sort of passions, is to talk about mental health and creativity, because I think it's a slippery slope when you start getting into that whole, you know, suffering artists thing. Yeah. I think there are so many people who get caught there, and, you know, that's where you get the myth of the addicted artists and the suffering artists.
Yeah. When,
you know, I mean, it's fiction. You don't have to live it, just write it.
Yeah. You know? Very true. Very true.
I don't think Agatha Christie killed a lot of people, you know.
Well, I'm really excited to have you play a little bit more for us at the end of the show today. And we're going to be back in just a few minutes with more with Eyvindur and getting to know a little bit more about him and his story. So we'll be back in just a minute for more of the Breakthrough Show.
Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Welcome back to the Breakthrough Show. I'm back here with my special guest today, Eyvindur Karlsson, all the way from Iceland. I say all the way from, like you're here sitting in my studio.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe
All the way in Iceland,
Yeah.
not from there.
Yes.
There anyway.
In there.
I'm special.
Over there. But yeah, so I'm really excited to have him here today because, like I mentioned at the beginning, he's very multi-passionate like I am. And I always am thrilled to talk to someone else who enjoys doing all the things. And we heard from him some music at the beginning, and we're going to hear some more at the end. But I wanted to get into a little bit of your story and how you got into doing some of the things that you do and some of the things that you're passionate about as well. I always like to start asking my guests, what is something right now, right in this moment, that's bringing you joy today?
Right. This conversation is what's bringing me joy.
You win.
Minute. I mean, there you go. But I'm so happy because this is like the third day in a row where everything is wonderful, because the day before yesterday, I finished my novel that I've been writing. I finished the first draft. It's not finished, but the first draft. So that was a big milestone. Yesterday was my birthday, and
Yes.
my wife got me a new coffee maker. So today's coffee has been amazing.
Hey.
So 3 days with just everything coming up me.
I know that have you always been as multi-passionate as you are now? Like, were you into all the things when you were little?
Yeah. I was doomed from the beginning. My parents are actors. And directors. My dad's a comedian and a playwright. And so, yeah, I kind of grew up. I always meant, I mean, it was always, I was always going to be an actor. That was my thing. And I grew up knowing that that's what I wanted to do. I was always in theater in school and all that stuff. And then for not very pleasant reasons, I sort of gave up on that dream when I was in my early 20s. We can go into it. It's depressing, but basically I tried out for the drama school, didn't get in, and never tried again for various reasons. And then I decided to become a writer instead. I started writing a lot. Wrote a novel that was published when I was 24, and since then I haven't really been doing that until now. For I don't know why.
What was your novel about?
The old one, it was kind of a twist on a crime or a mystery novel. A little bit. It's about a woman sitting in an interrogation room, and we don't know why she's being interrogated, and she's telling her story sort of piecemeal, going back and forth and explaining everything that's happened to her and why she is where she is. And gradually throughout the novel, we figure out who she is and what's going on.
I love stories like that.
I can't say anymore because it'll spoil it.
Well, what's the title of it so that I can go read it now?
Yeah, it's in Icelandic. You can't.
Well, I guess I gotta learn that too.
It's not out in English. Yeah, I'm working on I'm working on finding the time to translate it into English and get it out.
Yes. Do that for those of us who would butcher Icelandic.
Yeah, the few of you out there who don't speak Icelandic.
I'm wondering if that's on the language thing that my kids use now. Because my
Duolingo?
son, yes, is it on?
Yeah, it's on there. Yeah.
That's going to be my 2021 goal: learn Icelandic on Duolingo.
There you go.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly.
So you wrote the novel, and then you're getting into what else? All the things.
After that, well, I mean, I was in music. I mean, I always I was always sort of taking music lessons, because that's kind of what you do. Mm-hmm. And so I started on the recorder, which is I don't know.
Me too.
I don't understand. It's they hand because it's a small instrument and simple. They hand it to children, and it's the devil's instrument. It's horrible. No person in the world should ever play the recorder. But so my mom made me do that, and then I wanted to take trumpet lessons. But I was living in a rural area, and there was only one music teacher, and he didn't play the trumpet. So he said, "Well, I can't teach you to do that. I can teach you to play saxophone." And so I was like, "Sure, that's almost the same." So I took saxophone for a year and a half or something. I tried picking it up again a few years ago. It did not go well.
Yeah.
That's not like riding a bike at all. Saxophone, you lose.
Yeah. Clarinet's the same way. I still have my clarinet that I got in the second
clarinet's grade. Harder.
Yeah.
Clarinet's even harder. I remember when I was playing saxophone, I tried to play a clarinet because it's a reed instrument and the fingering is similar, but no, that I couldn't make a sound with a clarinet. And so after that, I wanted to become a bass player. I don't know why. And I was on a trip in Europe with Iceland's in Europe, but on the European mainland, and with my grandparents. And we were in Spain, and we drove over into Andorra, and we went into a music shop, and I would love a bass. And they were like, "Well, those are expensive. How do you feel about a guitar?" Because there were dirt cheap guitars there. And I was like, "Yeah, all right, sure. I'll play a guitar." So they gave me a guitar, and I started learning guitar. And then I started writing songs on the guitar. And eventually I started playing in bands and things like that. And so I kind of I was into electronic music for a while. When I was a teenager, I was making sort of drum and bass music, and stuff like that, ambient music. And then I just started playing acoustically more and doing singer-songwriter stuff eventually. So, and then through the years, I sort of go through phases. I think I just finished the first draft of a novel, which is like a science fiction-y type thing.
But that seems to be a theme when we're recording this right now. I'm doing several recordings for season 5 of the show, and a lot of people that have been writing fiction or doing movies have all been in the science fiction or horror genres. It seems to be like a theme right now.
Yeah, I can see why. Because we want to be everywhere except right here. But actually, the reason I did it was because I was looking at, and I'm just going to give it all away. Because I created a world. I had this novel going, and I had this idea, and it wasn't a science fiction thing at all in the beginning. This is an idea. It's a short story that I wrote like 15 years ago. And I always wanted, I made a couple of passes at turning it into a novel, but it always failed miserably. And in fact, like 10 years ago, I wrote out the entire thing. I wrote out a whole novel, and then I submitted it to my publisher who published the first novel. And they were like, yeah, you need to change this and this and this. And I looked at it and I was, oh, great. And I looked at it and I said, oh, so basically this is everything. There's nothing. If I change all of this, there's nothing left. So basically it was their polite way of saying, this is trash. So I went, so I went back to this idea, and I was looking at just things that were happening, and this was a couple of months ago, and just sort of looking at the world, and the whole political situation in the States and in Europe, where in Poland and Hungary, where everything is.
What do you mean?
And just looking at various things, and I was keeping sort of news clippings from a lot of stuff that was just sort of intriguing to me. I was like downloading PDFs of articles and things that were kind of just I found fascinating, QAnon and stuff like that. And then I decided to create a world where all of that is real, where the conspiracy theories are, or rather, when you take all of those weird worldviews that those people have and you just make it come true. So, so Elon Musk has put chips in all of our brains, and everybody now has a chip, and is a part of a vaccination conspiracy and all of that stuff. And I just said, I'm just going to create this world where everything is like those people think it is. And that's sort of how everything sort of came together, and all the xenophobia and misogyny and everything, just create a world from that, and it's horrible and it works in the story. But I'd love not to live in that story.
That would be great. It's funny though how we look back at things that were written many, many years ago that have come to be not necessarily in the exact same way, but that things that they thought could never be are. Well, I know that you talked a little bit about the reading and the music and everything as kind of being therapeutic tools, if you will, for you. Why is the topic of mental health and all of that so important to you?
Well, I've gone through a lot of stuff, and I alluded to it before, but it was so just going way back, because you always start with your childhood. I had some bad experiences after my parents split up. My stepfather was an alcoholic, great guy, but it's not fun to live with an alcoholic. And my stepmother was just a bitch. She just treated me horribly when I was still a young child, and then so that sort of affected my self-esteem. And then when I got older, I alluded to it before, how my sort of acting dreams were kind of squashed, and that was because I was in a pretty emotionally abusive relationship for many years, where the girl I was with, she just tore me down in many, many respects, and isolated me from my social network. And it was just bad, and it really destroyed a lot of things inside me. And I ended up being very depressed when I was around 20 years old, and or 20, 21, 22. To the point where I was contemplating suicide and all that fun stuff. Then when I went to see a psychiatrist, which helped me a lot, and I kind of got the tools to deal with that. And then I moved on from that relationship. I met my wife, and had children. I tried to mix,
where are we going here?
Children, and I tried to mix kids and children, and it turned into kill, which was not my. I'm sorry, but and then I started. Then my depression, which you never get over it. I mean, you get tools to deal with it, but it never goes away. Right. At least I don't think it does. But then anxiety started taking over, and I had a very sort of bad period in 2018, just burnout and just terrible situations. And so and I've sort of been working on that for the past couple of years. And again, I just went and I got help. I'm a big believer in getting professional help, going to psychologists or psychiatrists, and just working through. I take medication now, which helps a lot. For the first time, I didn't do that the first time. Now I'm on anxiety meds, which are really, really great. And so last year I had a really troubling experience with just some people who were treated me badly and stuff. And I got out of that. And as I was sort of working through those bad feelings, it was the end of a long friendship over stupid things and stuff. So a lot of sort of bad feelings were coming through, and I was working through them, and I realized that I was handling it very well. I wasn't getting, bogged down in anxiety and depression. I wasn't letting it drag me down. I was, it was hard, and it still is. There was sort of trauma involved with it, but it didn't take over my life. And then I started really thinking about how my coping mechanisms have evolved through the years, and I realized that in certain times I've used art as a kind of a crutch, and I've used, and I mean that in a negative way, in that not as a crutch. I should say I've used my sort of mental challenges in unhealthy ways. So I've leaned on those too much, to the point where I've not gotten better when I should have. And I think that's true for a lot of artists. I think a lot of people, and I see this with comedians especially. Comedians are very bad at treating themselves nice. Because comedy always comes from a place of pain, and I think great art always does. But we need to be aware that we don't actually have to be in pain. We've all experienced pain, and we can draw on our past experiences. We don't have to wallow and stay in those bad places.
Right.
And that's kind of an epiphany that I had, and I've been trying to get that word out there to other creatives, and that, you don't have to, yes, you should draw on those things that you've gone through, but you can see them just as well in your rearview mirror as you can when they're in front of you. Right.
I think that's,
in fact, in a lot of cases, you can see them better because you've worked through them, and now you have perspective. And the song that I played before wasn't that painful, but it was a little bit, but I didn't have perspective on that. And so I just wrote it kind of as it was. And I was very much, when I wrote that song, very much in a place of being a suffering artist. I had just gotten out of that bad relationship that I was talking about. I was drinking a lot. And it was a good probably 6 months to a year where I was just drunk and trying to pick up ladies at bars, and it usually didn't end well.
Yeah.
And so I've been through that phase of just suffering, and it's not good for anybody.
Yeah, I think the message that you're trying to share is so good and so relevant because it's something that even myself over the last year have really it's this understanding that we create these stories in our lives and we live in them,
Yeah.
and we continue them because they become part of who we are. And so at some point we have to look and we have to make that choice and say, we don't have to be this. Like, we don't have to live in this
Yeah.
space anymore.
My artist persona, because I'm very inspired by artists like Tom Waits and Nick Cave and Leonard Cohen and stuff like that. Those sort of singers, songwriters wearing a hat, drinking whiskey, that whole thing. And I think a part of me was kind of, I realized that I was drinking too much, which I think a lot of people have realized during COVID. And I realized that part of the reason I wasn't willing to let that go was because, well, as an artist, I'm like the guy. I'm the guy.
Yep.
When I'm playing live, I'll have a beer and I'll have a whiskey and I'll play. And then I realized, well, that doesn't have to be. I can still bring joy to people and I can have people enjoy their glass of wine or whatever they want to do. And I don't have to do that. If it's bad for me, I can just say, hey, you indulge and I'll have my tea, and nobody will. And I sort of realized that one of the things that I was doing, because I started doing it when I was releasing my previous album. I'm now getting ready to release another one, but in 2018, I released this album, and it was just when I was going through the anxiety ordeal. And part of the reason it took like 10 years for me to actually record and release this album. I started like 5 times, and then, just anxiety got the better of me and I didn't do it. So that was kind of the story when I was releasing it. It was, this is finally here. I'm not letting my anxiety keep me from doing this anymore, it was truthful and it was honest and it was absolutely a great story. It got a lot of press, worked fantastic. But I sort of got stuck in that, I think. And I sort of started, okay, so now I'm just catering to people who use music to escape their problems and who enjoy drinking and listening to music because they have anxiety, which is terribly unhealthy. And now I'm trying to frame it more positively in that I think my music is kind of cozy. Some of it is a little bit more upbeat and a little bit more rock and whatever. But if you take the average of, if you take all of my songs and you average them out, I think it's nice to sit down and listen to. It's just you sit down, you put on the album, preferably on vinyl, and you have a cup of hot chocolate and you enjoy the hell out of your evening and you read a nice book, and it's just that kind of music. And so that's a much better, it's the same thing. It's you're just having a nice, comforting moment with yourself.
Yeah.
But it's much more positive to frame it that way. Just sit down and it's comfort music for your ears. That's my new thing.
Yeah. I like that. And nobody's
food
buying
for your ears. Sorry, comfort food.
Nobody's buying a ticket to see what you're drinking. Nobody,
exactly.
They're there to hear the music. And I think we create those stories in our minds of this is the only way. And that's just not true. But it serves us in the moment. I think that was something else that I talked to someone else about recently, was that these stories that we create serve us in the moment. And so we can't just denounce them and say, well, you should have known better, because they worked for us at that time. And so now it's like, it's time to move on. They're buying the ticket to hear the music. They don't care what's in your glass,
Exactly.
And so it's good to be moving on from that.
You don't have to draw from yourself. You can draw from other people's troubles. And, and I think if you can allow yourself to believe that, just as I recently had to change my way of thinking to realize that I can write about people who drink without drinking myself.
Right.
then it's gonna be liberating, first of all. And the minute you step out of that pain, you're going to be so much more productive. And I found that when I stopped drinking a few months ago, I've been like on a roll. I've been so productive. It's been so much better.
Yeah.
I've gotten so much more done. So I think you need to make that shift. You need to allow yourself to believe that you don't need that.
Yeah. I love all the messages that you've shared today, because it sounds like that there's a real healthy balance of asking for help, like knowing that this stuff happens to us, but also understanding the level of control that you have and the choices that you make every single day. And I think it's these things that we go through are a balance of that. And it's not good to go extreme one way or the other. When we're talking about any of this stuff. So I just love all the messages that you shared. And I'm so happy that you've been so candid and open to sharing your journey with our audience. And I would love to do some more music with you before we end today. So we're going to be back in just a minute for more of the Breakthrough Show.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every month for exclusive programming, where we invite you to go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Welcome back to the Breakthrough Show. It has been such a pleasure talking to our special guest today, Eyvindur Karlsson, all the way
I'm special.
not from, in Iceland. So it's been a lot of fun to hear some music and to have these conversations. And also really just so honored that you've had use this space to share about your journey so candidly, because I know that that's how people learn and grow, is when we can hear these stories and feel like we're not alone, and we know that we can get through it, and just as other people have as well. So he's back now to share with us some more music. He's going to be playing That's How Killers Are Made. Do you want to tell us really quickly about this song?
I do. This is from my upcoming album, which is coming out in May, and it's a long album. I'm an album guy, and this is a concept album, like a double album about Henry Lee Lucas. Do you know Henry Lee Lucas?
I don't.
He's an alleged serial killer in the 80s who was confessed to 300 something murders, and then it turned out that it was all lies, or at least most of it. Nobody really knows how many people he killed, if any. And there's a great Netflix series about him called The Confession Killer.
Oh, wait a minute. I think I have seen that. I get my names mixed up.
It's fantastic. So I was just so fascinated with that story. So I throughout the years, I've written a lot of songs about him, and so that's coming out. And this is one of the songs from that album.
Awesome. Well, let's do it.
Let's do it. They won't take you to a doctor to treat your wounded eye. They don't give a damn that it's hurting. Don't care if you live or die. They teach you to aim for the cesspool rather than the sky. They make sure you know you'll never make the grade. And that's what killers are made of. Yeah, that's how killers are made. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Lock up your hurt inside you. Don't let them see you cry. Embrace your pain, 'cause it's all you have. Take it all in stride. They may take your dignity, they may take your glass eye, but they can never see that you're afraid. And that's what killers are made of. Yeah, that's how killers are made. Da da da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Let go of your notions of beauty. Get love out of your head. All that is warm and soft to touch, soon enough will be dead. You'll always be beaten and laughed at. You'll always wet the bed. Your only friend will be a hunting blade. And that's what killers are made of. Yeah, that's how killers are made. That's what killers are made of. Yeah, that's how killers are made. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da.
Awesome. It's an interesting concept that we can get so much enjoyment and peacefulness from a song that is so dark.
I know. I've always been fascinated with that. You know, you get Tom Waits said, I like beautiful melodies telling me terrible things. And I tend to agree.
It's so funny. I think it can be, I'm interested in like true crime type stories and stuff like that. And so now I want to see like an album on vinyl that is like based on every serial killer that's ever been out there.
That was the original idea.
Yeah.
That was my original idea. There's a great song by Sufjan Stevens called John Wayne Gacy's Jr. And it's this beautiful melody about John Wayne Gacy. And it was one of my favorite songs, it still is. And in like 2007, I was like, I want to write something like that. So I wrote a song about Henry Lee Lucas. And then I thought, I'm going to write, actually, there might have been another one that I wrote first. But my idea was I want to write a whole album about serial killers. All of these beautiful songs about serial killers. And it was serial murder ballads. And then I wrote two of them. One was about Henry Lee Lucas. The other one was about Ted Bundy. And then I gave up because I can't say, I mean, they're all going to be the same.
Yeah.
These songs are all, because it's all, yeah, this is a beautiful melody, but this was a horrible person who killed a lot of people. And that's it. That's all that's going to be on the album. Yeah. So I thought this is going to be novel for a whole album. And then it was years and years later when I was playing around with that old song about Henry Lee Lucas that I thought, yeah, why don't I see if there are more songs in there about old Henry. And,
very interesting.
Very interesting. I think I have like 19 songs.
Oh my gosh. Well, it'll be interesting to hear it when it comes out. I'll be looking forward to it. So where can everybody connect with you and get to hear more of your music and everything else? Tell everybody where they can find you.
Sure. Go to get my music. You can listen to an EP for free at onebadday.rocks. It's one bad day, all one word, .rocks. That'll take you to where you can sign up and listen to that. And follow me through there. You can find me on all social media and all that stuff. And I have a podcast for creative people at artemist.net. Artemist. It's a play on words. It's like alchemist, but for art.
I see what you did there.
So it's turning art into gold. It's very clever. No one gets it, but I like it. And
that's all that matters.
Makes me happy. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. I tend to be that person that always makes little jokes or something like that, or puns or something. And everybody's kind of like, yeah. Meanwhile, well, this has been so much fun. I've had an absolute blast with you, and wishing you so much luck for your new album, and not even just the luck, but all the joy that you can experience, because I know that you live that way like I do, just doing what makes you feel amazing in the moment. And really looking forward to hear it. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Great. Well, I would love to have you back on again and in the future, and really looking forward to hearing everything that you come out with, all of the ways that you choose to be creative. Guys, it's been an amazing show today. I want to encourage you to check out the show notes where you can find all the information on how to connect with our special guest today. And we will be back, of course, next week with more breakthrough stories to share with you. Thank you so much for watching or listening wherever you are. Please take a moment to rate, subscribe, comment, and share where available. And until next week, make joy a priority in your life, and also make every day a great day for the breakthrough. We'll see you next time.
Tuning in to another episode of The Breakthrough. Please visit our website at www.thebreakthroughshow.com and be sure to join our After the Breakthrough community powered by Patreon. We look forward to seeing you next week, same time.